Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Mr. Hino with Mr. Hino's Lego Robotics. Today's video is going to be another robotics news video where I'm just got snippets of news things to tell you guys. Not necessarily something so big that we can make an entire video about. So there's going to be some things I'll cover today that are just like, hit and miss, touch on this, on things that you might find interesting in robotics. So if you want to see that, stay with me.
Hino, Lego Robotics.
Okay, so today's video, I'm going to kind of concentrate on just little things around the robotics room that for some of you that teach would just find this interesting, like, hey, that's cool. Just a little sneak peek into my room, just some things that we do, that might make life easy, just to make things more functional. And also an update on the Spring Showdown and a little quirk that I have that's kind of preventing us from getting started. So let's go to the news. So the big deal is today is March 11th, and on Monday, next Monday the 14th, we get choices on wearing masks. So that is super huge. Yeah, give it up. It's just we've been through this whole school year wearing a mask, and it's hard to breathe when it gets hot, when it's cold outside, my glasses fog up. It's hard to hear students. And so I know there's a big debate about them, and you guys might have a different opinions, but just for myself, it's just going to be so good to be able to breathe. I'm not going to be dying for the end of the period to take it off and breathe. I'm going to be able to have my students hear me better. For those that don't wear their mask, I'm going to be able to hear them better. So I'm just excited. It's a day that I've been looking for, and my students seem to have the majority of that. They're just really excited to just ditch the mask. I've been putting these push pins around the room because my students are starting to use the computer. So they use that to connect. And I know some of you are like, well, why aren't you guys using Bluetooth? These computers are pretty old, and I don't want my students relying on Bluetooth to connect. In fact, even with the USB cables, they have a hard time connecting because you have to restart the computer. So I know we live in different worlds. Our technology is not where, I can trust the Bluetooth. So I just say, hey guys, when it's time to clean up, just make sure the USB cables get hung up, and it kind of looks like a mudroom where, you put up your jackets and things. So it's working right now for our class to just get these things hung up. I know it looks ugly to hang these around, but they're useful. It's functional, not necessarily fashionable. So that's the latest with USB cables. Okay, for my students, it was getting kind of tiresome to keep telling them the programs for certain things. So for those of you that did the catapult, there is the program for the catapult and for the wormbot. So for those of you that teach robotics and you're tired of having to show students what the program is, obviously they can experiment with the program, but for the program to work with the way that it was built, so the catapult, you're using your touch sensor, and these are all brick programs. Obviously we can replicate these on the computer. The large motor, the D motor, the bar is going to be in the middle, 2 seconds. That same large D motor, bar all the way down for 0.50 seconds. The large motor D, bar all the way up, and then 0.50 seconds. And you can obviously have your choice of looping that if you want. The wormbot program, just large D motor, bar all the way up, 2 seconds, and then we just loop that, so it just keeps going on and on. So let me just step back here so you can get a good idea. So that's what I do when I get a lot of students saying, hey, Mr. Hino, what's the program? What's the program? I just point to the board and say, there's your program, show me that it works. For those of you that teach robotics, I usually will give my students some type of success criteria so they know exactly what's expected of them so that they can be the ones to choose what grade they get. So for the color sensor maze, and man, this thing is getting jacked up. Look at that. Okay, so this is an example of what my criteria would be. We don't use an A, B, C, D fail type grading system. We use exceeds, met, nearly met, unmet. So the boxes, what we're talking about are just these black boxes here. So if their robot gets to a certain point, that's how they know that they've met certain criteria. I give them their target of what they're supposed to learn. And just because I want them to know, Mr. How do I know I was successful? Because, that's what we're all looking for, right? How do I know that I did a good job? And what was the target? So that way I don't quit. I know what's expected of me when I'm doing each of these items. And for those of you that remember the color sensor maze, look at my wall of fame. It has grown. So these are all the students that made it from the beginning here. Their robot went through the whole thing. I'll put the link for the color sensor maze project at the end of this video. And they made it all the way to the end here without a checkpoint. So what a checkpoint is a place where a team, let's say a robot got to that point, they could say, Miss, we want that to be our checkpoint. And it's like a video game. A checkpoint means they don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. Now they can start their robot right here and continue to go to the end without having to go all the way back to the beginning. So a checkpoint was just a way to help the students not have to do the whole thing all in once. Okay, everybody, there it is. There is the Spring Showdown mat. So it is called Planes, Trains, and Robot Mobiles. So there's all the Cargo Connect models that we had that we're going to be putting on here. I'm just a little miffed, you guys. They did not give us any dual lock. So I'm just like, what? Are we supposed to buy that ourselves? So that's where the brakes kind of hit the skids here. But there's base, and you can kind of tell where things are going to go. But I'm like, well, I can't put it down without any dual lock. This was the leftover that I had from previous competitions, but a lot of times, I don't know if you guys have this issue, the dual lock ends up getting stuck to the paper. So that's basically useless. The Journey models there, the plane and the truck. The train is going to go back there. So we're just getting set up here for the Spring Showdown, everybody. You can see how there's just one line follow over there. So that's going to be interesting. The Cargo Connect one had tons of lines to follow. So this one just this one line. So that's going to be interesting for us and other folks that would utilize that color sensor to follow lines. But yeah, we're just getting started with the Spring Showdown here, and I will feel a lot better when I get the dual lock and able to get these models in place. So it's also going to save time too, because when these masks run out, now I don't have to send a student to go to the office to get more masks. So I think it's just a win-win. Yes, I have students that are a little concerned, but our numbers are low. A lot of my students have already had COVID, so they're like, it's not an issue for me. And so it's a sensitive subject, so I'm gonna just leave it at, I'm excited for Monday that we don't have to wear masks if we don't want to. Okay, everybody, hopefully you like the Mr. Hino's Lego Robotics news. Just little snippets of information, especially for those of you that teach. Just some tips, just some things to think about, just some things that might make your program a little better, maybe a lot better, I don't know. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, guys, so we're hitting the weekend, and again, I'm excited for Monday. I can come to school with no mask. That is I've been looking forward to this day. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a wonderful weekend. I will see you guys on Monday. Again, on the weekends, I like to throw in those shorts. Hopefully you guys have been liking those short videos. Hit me up in the comments section what you think about those shorts, okay? All right, guys, thank you so much. I am Mr. Hino from Mission's Lego Robotics. I'm out.
He's out.
He's out.
We got this.
We got this.
We got this, guys.
Hey guys, Mr. Hino here. Thank you so much for watching. And if you love robotics, don't forget to check out these videos also because they're cool. Okay guys, take care.